welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to catch you up on what I watched for the last couple of weeks of May. It's not too many, so we shouldn't be here too long. We're going from the 18th of May through to the end, and there's not too many, so we'll try and keep this as short as possible, guys. So, on the 18th, I watched a movie called American Sweatshop. Now, this is very similar to Faces of Death in its premise. Not the old 80s Faces of Death with horrible real deaths in, the movie that I watched a couple of weeks back. So this follows, so just to read the little bit of gumph here, some things should never be seen. A content moderator is tasked with purging offensive media from the internet when she witnesses a crime in a video. She is lured away from the safety of her keyboard as she obsessively seeks to hold someone accountable. So you can see there just as well, some people I know what they've rated it. So not great out of 10, out of 5. There is a 3.5 there, which is quite good. What did I rate this? Probably about a 2, I would say. 3. All right, okay, so I liked it more than I thought I did. This isn't as good as Faces of Death. It's a similar premise. I obviously thought this one was all right. I don't remember that much about it, to be fair, other than I preferred Faces of Death, which is a similar premise. So yeah, 3 out of 5 for American Sweatshop. It's obviously worth a watch. It kept me engaged. Not with, oh god, yes, this is awful. Let me give you a warning about this, guys. Not Without Hope. This has got the guy that played Shazam in it. What's his name? Zachary Levi. A group of friends' fishing boat capsizes off the coast of Mexico and they're left alone, stranded at sea and struggling for survival. This kind of thing's right up my street. It's a true story. I love a true story. These guys are all, I think they were American football players, all big fit guys. It's dull, it's boring. They managed to make peril boring. But now this does my head in. I don't want to be slapped round the chops with faith movies. Warn me, tell me something. I'm not interested. I don't want to hear about Jesus saving people, and I don't mean it's just like people near death and people pray and stuff. That's, you know, most people do, but I don't watch movies to be preached at, and Zachary Levi seems to just be doing those kind of movies now. It's a real shame. The movies that he's done since Shazam, which I actually really enjoyed, have either been hitting you over the head with a religion or have been atrocious, like The Purple Crayon. I remind you all, if none of you have seen it, just avoid it like the plague. It could have been a really fun premise, but it wasn't. So that's Not Without Hope. It was Without Hope. I gave it a 2 out of 5 because the acting performances were absolutely fine. It was shot absolutely fine. Everything looked good. It just was dull, and I just didn't like the religious theme of it. Yeah. The Sheep Detectives. I actually had done a review about this, and it was such poor quality in the car that I'd never put it up. This is a film with, what's his name? Why I start sentences and I should think of the end of them before I start them. What's Wolverine called? Hugh Jackman, thank you. So we don't need to go into massive like territory of plot here. This follows Hugh Jackman, who is a shepherd, who actually dies near the start of this movie. No spoiler, this is what the movie's about. The sheep decide they are going to investigate his death. Talking sheep. I love this. I am a sucker for some talking animal movies. I love animals. I cried several times watching this. It was delightful. Some of it was terrible. Like, think typical quintessential village British family film, and it's like, oh, it's eye-rolling, but the sheep made it for me. Like I say, I did cry. I am known to cry at animal films, so that's maybe on me, but there is one, let me tell, it is a family movie. I can't see a certificate there, but let me warn you, if you're going to watch this with young children, there is one scene in this that is quite, I think, upsetting for, I'm going to tell you what it is because it's not, you know, it's 2 dogs attack a sheep. I think it's really upsetting personally because, you know, kids don't want to see a beloved animal, you know, that they have come to know as a character. They don't want to see that. It's desperately sad in places. It is a really nice family film, but that scene itself, just let me warn you, if you're thinking about taking younger, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, just be aware of that. But it is a lovely film. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I'm a sucker for an animal movie, guys. An American Pickle. This should have been so much better, but it was. This is worth a watch, guys. So this has got Seth Rogen playing 2 parts. This is an odd one, but I don't like where it went in the end, but it had real promise, and I would recommend it actually. So, a story of self-preservation. An immigrant worker at a pickle factory is accidentally preserved for 100 years and wakes up in modern-day Brooklyn. He learns his only surviving relative is his great... I'm sure it's not his great-grandson. I'm sure it's like his great-great-great-grandson or something. A computer coder who he can't connect with. This is a fun movie. It's actually really sort of like thought-provoking in places. And this guy is from an age where when he had this accident that ends up pickling him, at the time he had just got married, he was very much in love, his wife was pregnant, and he wakes up 100 years down the line, and obviously his entire family are dead and gone, apart from this one guy. And he's so different. He hasn't he come from a very poor background. He worked in a factory. He hadn't made it. One of his big dreams was to be able to taste carbonated water, like fizzy water. He wanted to feel the bubbles on his tongue, and his grandson's got a soda stream in his house. So there's like really nice little moments like that. But it's funny. It is heartwarming. It became quite predictable as it went on, but I think it's a nice premise, and I think it's well done, and I think Seth Rogen's very good in it, and I would recommend it. An American Pickle. Ladies First. I'm trying to remember oh god, yes. The only other person I've seen review this is Mike from Did You See That? This has got Sacha Baron Cohen in. This is kind of like the movie that Mel Gibson did called What Women Want, which was much funnier and much more, less preachy than this. It was more tongue-in-cheek. So, what's his name? Sacha Baron Cohen. Not a big fan. Absolutely adore Borat. It's one of my favourite comedies. Other than that, not a big fan. So, an arrogant but charismatic ladies' man finds his life of money, power and casual flings upended when he wakes up in a parallel world dominated by women. This movie is very preachy. I cannot for the life of me think of any man that really would want to see this. It's obviously in business. It starts off, this guy's a complete arse. He's sexist, he's condescending, he has to give a woman a senior role who deserves it because she's very good at her job, because of optics, and she's in the room, he's not allowing her to speak. It's basically making out this entire business of men to be absolute misogynists. Now there's plenty of them out there, but I'm sure men are sick and tired of being preached at that they're all misogynists and they don't take women seriously. But he's not a nice person, and that's very much made clear. He has an accident, he bangs his head. Cue Freaky Friday, he wakes up and he is the undermined, laughed at, oh, don't take yourself so seriously, love, and all the women are in positions of power. They're all really sexist, really offensive, just treat men like sex objects. So it's upending it, and he gets to see what it's like as a woman in the workplace. And obviously you can imagine where that's going. He has an epiphany, etc., etc. Like that type of guy would actually have an epiphany, really. He would just be really bitter and twisted like the rest of us. But 2 out of 5, couple of giggles, couple of moments of satisfaction for me as a female, seeing a bloke have to, so, but I can imagine if you're a man watching this, you're going to be like, oh, just go. I am trying to swear less in my videos, guys. I'm trying my best. I was going to swear then, I didn't. I'm proud of myself. So, if you're a man, you're probably not going to get a lot from this. I'll put it that way. It's just incredibly sexist. All men are arseholes. I did swear, I couldn't help it. And they turn the tables, and he learns his lesson. That's what happens. Maxine. Okay, so I've seen Maxine before. I rewatched it because my husband hadn't seen it. This is part 3 of the trilogy, X and Pearl being the other 2. I really enjoy this. It's not for everyone. It is the weakest of the three. I still give it a 4 out of 5. This follows a young starlet who works in adult movies, but she fancies herself as a bit of a leading lady. She goes for an audition for a horror movie and she kills it. She gets the role. This is all set during the time of Satanic Panic. I think it's the reason I like this so much is the time period is one that I find really interesting. It's in the 80s. You've got all of like Dee Snider's in court trying to defend rock lyrics. Judas Priest at a time was part of that whole Satanic Panic thing, although I don't think, maybe Rob Halford's voice might be in it. And it's also got the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. That's all running in the background. And there's basically someone out there killing women. She works in one of those peep show things on an evening, so she's walking about in the night. Her mates are walking about in the night. It's a scary time, but this girl texts no S word. I can't do it. It's not me, is it? She texts no shit. But a lot of people aren't that keen on this one. It is the weakest of the three, but I absolutely love a movie with a kick-ass female character that's believable. I don't like movies where they have tiny little women kicking the crap out of big beefy blokes and you're meant to think that it's real. But this woman is full of sass. She is full of attitude. I just love her character in this. I think she's great. I'm looking down at other people's ratings of it there. My goodness, Jonathan 3. Fright Club gave it a 4. 79 people on my list watched this. So let me just... It's not showing the ratings because I've got it in mobile format, so that's useless, guys. Sorry about that. But I think I'm a bit more of a lover of that than most people. Normal. Okay, so this is a new movie with... Who's the... Bob Odenkirk. Kind of like... What's Nobody, that kind of thing. Not quite as good as Nobody, but I would say it's worth a watch. So Bob Odenkirk plays a temporary sheriff who is tasked with looking after a town called Normal. Interim Sheriff Ulysses, cool name, called the snowbound town of Normal, MN, Minnesota, uncovers an international criminal conspiracy at the heart of a seemingly quaint whistle stop when he comes to the aid of a bank robbing couple caught up in a deadly mess. All kinds of stuff's going on in this town behind the scenes. It's a nice little watch. It's a bit funny in places. Bob Odenkirk's brilliant. He always is. It's not as good as Nobody, but I would say it's definitely worth a watch. Don't expect it to be incredible. The Fonz is in it. Henry Winkler's in it. Not long enough, but he's in it. There's some scores, a 3.5 from Anthony. Sean's given it a 3. And I'm not opening them because I'll not be able to see that. I think that's Jordan's given it a 2.5. So yeah, I think most people are agreeing it's an okay movie. It's maybe a bit average, but 3 out of 5 for me. The Backrooms. So I went to the cinema to see The Backrooms. If you watched my review, you will notice that my rating has gone up from a 3.5 to a 4. The more I actually thought about this and mulled it over, the more I actually have enjoyed it because I'm so intrigued. This is a movie where the main star of the movie is a kind of alcoholic, split up with his wife, very bitter, very angry at the world, blames everyone else other than himself on his issues, is seeing a therapist who is trying to sort of show him that maybe the problem's not always someone else, but he's living in his workplace, which is a big furniture store, and he comes across downstairs this like almost parallel world called The Backrooms, which is based off a creepypasta. It's basically never-ending office space, for want of a better word, kind of similar set to what you would have seen in the series Severance, if you've seen it. And all kinds of weird stuff's kicking off in this other world. He tells his therapist, she doesn't believe him, obviously, and she ends up getting sucked into this as well because he goes missing and she comes to look for him and finds the Backrooms. This is a very confusing movie. It's very, very abstract, and the fact I enjoyed it is crazy because I don't tend to like movies like that. If I get a whiff of abstract or pretentious, I'm put off. I tend to like things to have a cohesive story that I can follow. I like a linear movie as well, generally. I'm all about the character, about the growth of the character, and this is so not that, but it is so refreshingly different. Kind of like, what's the one the other YouTuber did earlier this year? About the submarine. I'll put it up on the screen. That was so refreshingly different for me. It's based. Sorry, my husband's walking about upstairs, so you'll hear loads of creaking. It was so refreshingly different from anything I'd ever seen before that I just couldn't help but really enjoy it. And this is exactly the same. There is a YouTube series on this that has been done by, is it Kane Parsons? Which I haven't yet watched and I intend to. I would imagine there will be another movie or maybe even a series. It's very confusing. It's quite left to interpretation. But I really enjoyed it, and the more when I left the cinema, I thought about it even more, and it kept going over in my mind and the possibilities and what everything meant. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it if you don't enjoy things that are very much open to interpretation, that are very what the hell's going on here. But if you watch a lot of movies and you want to watch something that's entirely different from anything that you've seen before, I would definitely recommend Backrooms. When I go to the cinema, generally, the maximum amount of people you get in a screen, and this is shocking, is maybe about 10. All the time I go to the cinema and I am the only person in there, I get the whole screen to myself. The cinema is literally dying in this town. There's so few people go. Backrooms was sold out, which was a bit irritating because the environment of loads of teenagers making loads of racket was not the right environment to watch this movie in. But because it's a whole internet creepypasta thing, the cinema was packed with teenagers, absolutely full. So it's good to see people at the cinema, and if this is not like a sign for horror, makers, you need to look more at creepypasta, you need to look more at internet stuff, because that's what's doing really well at the minute, in terms of horror, that is. Power Ballad, I have an individual review for that up as well. This, I went to see this purely because Paul Rudd's in it, and I like Paul Rudd. He is like an aging, I don't want to say rock star, but soft rock. He's now a wedding singer. He's missed his chance. He moved to Ireland, he got married, he had a kid, and now he works as a wedding singer. He's at a wedding. Mutual friends of the bride and groom happen to be one of the Jonas brothers, Nick Jonas, who is now this big rising pop star called Danny Wilson, who sings Mary's Prayer, which is a song I love, which is in this movie. It's average. It's Paul Rudd's good in it, as he is in most things. He's got a really nice singing voice. It's a sweet movie. It's probably going to appeal to women that like Paul Rudd. Very handsome. He always is very handsome. But it's nothing special. It's nothing to write home about. It's not going to be something to get overly excited about, and it's probably not something you're going to watch more than once. It's just a nice film. My nose is itching like crazy. That means I'm going to be cross. 3 out of 5 for Power Ballad. Good God. Over Your Dead Body. So this is actually a remake of I want to say Norwegian, but I'm not 100% sure. It's one of the Slavic countries. The original is called The Trip, and it is so much better than this. I watched this because Juliette Lewis is in it, and I am a Juliette Lewis uber fan. I absolutely love her. So breakups are all in the execution. A dysfunctional couple head to a remote cabin to reconnect, but each has secret intentions to kill the other. So exactly what it says in the tin. It has Samara Weaving and Jason Segel, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And basically they can't stand the sight of each other. They go to this cabin on the pretense of having some time together, and they both have made plans to kill one another. But a couple of escaped cons and their female prison officer who helped them escape has other plans. So there's a big standoff. Everything kicks off in this house. There's loads of injuries, quite a bit of gory scenes in it. It is a comedy. It's a very black, dark comedy. It's nowhere near as good as the original. If the premise sounds interesting to you, check out The Trip. It's only a few years old. It's so much better than this. This is, I might have scored this higher had I not seen the original, but having seen the original, this just didn't hold a candle to it, so it gets a 3 out of 5. Keys to the Kingdom, get me watching an old movie, and regular viewers of the 20 minutes, I'm sorry guys, I talk too much. Regular viewers will know when I've got an old movie come up, why I'm at my dad's. 3 old movies came up this last couple of weeks. I'm not picking my nose. I've got a nose stud and the bit keeps coming down the bottom. Keys of the Kingdom. So I've actually scored this 3.5 out of 5, guys. It's a 1944 movie. So this, I couldn't get over how tall, what's his name, Gregory Peck is. It's ridiculous. Or is this the one? Yes. So, a young priest, Father Chisholm, is sent to China to establish a Catholic parish among the non-Christian Chinese. While his boyhood friend, also a priest, flourishes in his calling as a priest in a more Christian area of the world, Father Chisholm struggles. He encounters hostility, isolation, disease, poverty, and a variety of setbacks, which humble him but make him more determined than ever to succeed. Now, straight off the bat, let me say this is not the sort of thing I would choose to watch, but my dad was watching it. Kind of didn't really have a choice. I really enjoyed this. I thought the acting was fantastic. It was really heartfelt, and it's religious. I watched a religious film and enjoyed it. I went to a very Catholic primary and secondary school. I was taught by nuns in primary school. I was caned by nuns in primary school because corporal punishment was a thing back then, and you got caned for next to nothing. The only times I ever got caned in primary school was by nuns. Our principal was a nun and my primary 5 teacher was a nun, and both caned me. I'll leave that there. But I'm not a fan of a religious film. But I really liked this. I thought this was excellent. What's his name again? Gregory Peck really makes this movie. His acting's fantastic. The characters are all very defined. You get an idea what everyone's like. What's his face is in this? Vincent Price is in this as well, as a real horrible, he might be a bishop that comes to visit, real horrible arsehole he is. But I can't, to be honest, the people that like watching the older movies, I watch a few channels where the people like older movies. Roy would be one, Blue Roy Movies. There are several and my brain's just gone blank. Stuart George. I don't tend to watch many old movies. I don't know why. I try to keep up so much with everything that's coming out new that tends to swamp what I watch. But my dad does love to watch an old movie, especially an old western. I can't bear old westerns. But this one I really liked. Spoiler to next week's. I watched The Birdman of Alcatraz on yesterday and absolutely loved it. But I will talk about that next time because I've stuff to say about that. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5 for The Keys of the Kingdom. I would recommend that if you don't mind an older film. Look, there you go. Look, Birdman of Alcatraz and The Haunting. I watched that. That's a 1960-something film. Wasn't such a fan of that, it has to be said. Last movie of the month was Passenger. This is one that I wasn't going to see in the cinema because the reports from my fellow cinema goers was so poor. So 130 million people take road trips every year. 15,400 of them are never seen again. After a young couple witness a gruesome highway accident, they soon realised they did not leave the crash scene alone, as a demonic presence called the passenger that won't... let's read that again. As a demonic presence called the passenger that won't stop until it claims them both, turns their van life adventure into a nightmare. They could do a bit of punctuation in that sentence. This is worse than average. This is horror by numbers. This comes out the same month as Obsession and The Backrooms, which were both really good movies. Someone reviewed this and said something that made me not want to see it, which was, think Imaginary and Tarot. That's the level of horror movie this is. I hated Imaginary and I hated Tarot. They were so non-movies. They were so dull. This fits that category. The only reason I went to see this is because my husband and son wanted to see The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I'm all Star Wars'd out. I'm not interested. There's too much Star Wars now. They're just weakening the whole... I don't feel massively strongly about it, don't get me wrong. I just couldn't be bothered. It's just not for me. So it was a 2.5 out of 5. Certainly not something I would recommend you go check out. So that is what I've watched for the end of May, guys. You can see my first two watches, where you did see, it's gone now, for June have been two old movies, Birdman of Alcatraz and The Haunting. So yeah, let me know below what you thought of any of the watches that I've watched. Any of them strike your fancy, or if you haven't seen any and aren't interested in any, what about the older one I watched this month? Yeah, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, guys. I shall be back at some point in June to try and keep up to date with what I've been watching. But I'm now going to go and record my favourite 10 movies from the 80s. And believe me, guys, that was a slog trying to get that down to 10. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Over and out from Lisa Lives.